I wanted to give you some tips that you could use to help me help you. So we're going to start off with a couple things. First of all, I want you to call me over anytime you feel like you need help. And there will be times where I will push you to try to figure something out on your own. That's what I do. That's my job as a teacher. I want you to stretch. However, when you feel like you need help, call me on over, and then together we can decide. Now, here's some things you can do to make it easier for me to help you. One of the things is when you call me over, it'd be great if you could make your screen brighter. Because I'm an old man, and old people have a hard time reading things on a computer screen when they're very dim. Younger people can read a screen that is almost black, but for older folks, we need more light to be able to read. So one way you can do that is on the Chromebook keyboard, there's a couple of buttons here for brightness. They kind of look like a small sun and a big sun, like that thing that's shining in the sky during the day. Anyways, if you click on the big sun, then you will get brighter screen, and if you click on the little one, you'll get a dimmer screen. After I'm done helping you, you're more than welcome to dim the screen to your liking so that you can save battery. And I believe I also am going to have a Chromebook cart that you can just throw your Chromebook into that cart and let it charge for a while if need be, certainly on breaks. So anyways, when you call me over, please, number one, make sure that the screen is bright so that I can read it. That'll save me from having to ask people again and again and again to turn up the brightness. The other thing you can do is you can make it so that you can zoom in the screen a bit. So this right here is a pretty good zoom level, but unfortunately, a lot of times when I come to help students out, the screen is very zoomed out, and so again, it's very hard for me to read what the code says over here, and it's just too small for my old eyes, and so it would be great if you could zoom in on the code. And the one way to do that, now let me show you with the keyboard, is you can hold the control key with your left hand, and then with your right hand press the plus key. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate right now. I'm going to go ahead and hold the control key, and then I'm going to press the plus key, and you'll notice that the screen starts to zoom in. Okay, now let's not get crazy. Let's not go overboard. I'd like to be able to see some of what's going on your canvas and also what's going on in the code editor at the same time. But still, it would be helpful for me if we could zoom in a bit at least. And it'd be great if you could do that. You know, when you raise your hand, make sure that the brightness is turned up and that you've zoomed in a bit so that when I sit down, I can help you right away. What else? Oh, the other thing that I would ask that you do is consider tilting the screen. So tilt the screen so that it is angled towards me, so that I can see it a little easier. Again, if you're sitting directly in front of the screen and I'm off over here to one side or the other, off to over there or over here, it would be great if you could just tilt the screen slightly so that I get a front-facing view of the screen just like you use when you're typing. Okay, let me see if I can think of anything else. Oh, something that I wanted to mention, and it's not that big of a deal for you to help me, but something that will help you a lot when coding is if you are using both hands on the keyboard when you're typing, okay? I would like to see you do that. To me, if I come over to you and I see you doing this with one hand, okay, it just sends a message to me that your heart is not in it and you're not really putting out your full effort. I would appreciate it if you, and by the way, if you're not good at typing with two hands, if you are not a touch typist, I recommend going and checking out a typing tutor program. And let me show you one that I recommend. So there are a million different typing tutor programs out there, and I don't know that this one is the best, but I've seen a lot of students use it, and I've used it before, and I kind of like the look of it and how simple it is. So yeah, it looks a little something like this when you're typing and trying to measure your typing speed. I think there's two parts to a typing tutor. One part is that you're practicing, and the other part is the typing tutor is giving you some kind of feedback as about how well you're doing. By default, when you go to monkeytype.com, it is set to have you practice, I think, for about 30 seconds, and I think using the default is just fine. I do recommend, let me go ahead and get rid of this, I do recommend that you create an account at whatever typing tutor you use so that you can save your progress and see how you've grown and improved over time. Okay, that's all I've got to say for now on typing tutor. If you have questions, please ask me, and I would like to help you figure out how to. I'll tell you this. In order to write code, you're going to be typing a lot. And the slower you type, the harder it is to get good at writing code. The faster you type, the easier it is because that's one less thing to worry about. And by the way, the same thing is true for typing essays for English class. If you have to be typing your essay, the slower you type, the harder it is to generate an essay. Okay, anyways, I'll leave it at that. All right, what else? There's a couple of things that I normally say to people when I come over and I try to help them with their code. A lot of times I will look at the code and I will say, it looks like maybe you need to insert a line and type some code. Like, for instance, I might say, let me go ahead and get rid of these hashtags. I might say, hey, I want you to add a new line after line 4. When I say that, I would like to point out that over here, these are line numbers. And the number 4 indicates which line is line 4. It's this one, because the 4 is over here. Okay. Now, if I want you to add a new line after 4, I might ask you to go ahead and go to the end of line 4, or put the cursor at the end of line 4. By the way, this blinky guy, this thing that I'm waving around is known as the mouse cursor, and this blinky guy over here is known as the text cursor. I might ask you to go ahead and put the cursor at the end of line 4. If I ask you to put the cursor at the end of line 4, every single time you ever hear end of line 4, I will always mean the right side of line 4, not over here. I don't know why it is, but over the years, I've had dozens of students who, every time I say put the cursor at the end of the line, they go to the beginning of the line. This is known as the beginning. This is known as the end. Just FYI. Okay, what else? So if you get the cursor to the end of the line, you can then hit enter, and sure enough, you'll have room to go ahead and add another line of code after line 4. Yay. Okay, what else? Pretty soon we're going to be learning about something called functions, if you haven't seen it already. And when you're going to create a function, we will do something like def, and then we'll give it a function name like draw stars. And then we need to have a parentheses. And by the way, I'm sorry, we don't even need to draw. You can see with the rectangle function, we can see we have parentheses. So if I want you to draw a rectangle and you type RECT and I tell you to press the open parentheses or open paren, paren is short for parentheses. By the way, just so you can see that, let me go ahead and can I type it here? The word parentheses is spelled like this, and I might just say paren or parens as an abbreviation, if you don't mind. Anyways, if I tell you to type the open paren, or open parentheses, okay, what I mean is to press this key. Are you ready? Here I go. This, Actually, that gives me both the open and the close. So the main thing is that I wanted the open, and then I'd like you to type some stuff like color, or I'm sorry, like 100, comma 120, comma 200, comma 20, and then I'll get a beautiful black rectangle. Okay, anyways, at the very end, I might ask you to close the parent or press the close parent key, and that just looks like this. Okay, so just want to make sure you're familiar with the language that I might use when I'm asking you to do something on the computer. Let me see if there's anything else. As long as I've got your attention, I would like to give you some hints that will make it a lot easier for you to code, whether you're asking for help or not. The hint is there's a couple things here. A lot of times we'll find that we'd like to move the code around, okay? So for example, here in this particular exercise, my canvas looks like this and solution looks like this, okay? So you can see that my canvas, and oh, by the way, when I'm clicking on this guy, I don't need to click on the my canvas side and then the solution side. I can just leave my mouse in one place and just click, 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 click to go back and forth. And I may very well ask you to go back and forth between the solution and my canvas. If I do, just bring your mouse up here and just leave it in one place and just click, click, click. It's the fastest, most efficient way to get back and forth between the two. There's no reason to move the mouse and click and move the mouse and click and move the mouse and click. Just click, 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 click. Okay? Anyways, what else? If we want to move code around, I have noticed that most students understand how to copy and paste using keyboard commands. There are keyboard commands like Control C that lets you copy, and then there's another one called Control V. It doesn't have to be uppercase, by the way, and that will let you paste. But one thing that I noticed is it seems like most students are not familiar with cut. Control X lets you cut something. Now, cutting something will allow you to paste it later just as though you copied it. But cutting is useful because many times we simply want to move a line of code and not just copy it. So copying can be very inefficient if you want to move a line of code. So let's say I want to move line 7 and I want to put it in front of line 4. The trick that I have for you is this, is first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the shift key with my left hand. Okay, so when I go up to when I bring my mouse to the beginning of line 7, let's say I want to cut and move, let's say I want to move line 7 to right before line 4. Okay, if I hold the shift key down and then hit the down arrow with my right hand, the down arrow, you can see that the entire line of code gets selected. I don't have to fiddle around with the mouse and trying to get it exactly right and missing it about 4 times. I just go to the beginning of line 7, hold the shift key, down arrow, boom, the entire line is selected. Now, if I do Control C to copy, and then come up here and go to the end of line 3 and then hit enter and then paste. Now I've got this extra line of code down here that I got to get rid of. Okay, so I do not necessarily recommend that you copy code when you're trying to move it. I recommend instead we're going to go to the beginning of line 7, hold the shift key, down arrow, and instead of copy, instead of Control C, I'm going to do Control X to cut. Remember? Control, I'm going to highlight line 7 and then Control X. Now that line is gone. And if I click on the end of line 3, remember the end is the right side, and then hit enter, I can now paste my new line of code. And you can see I ended up getting an extra line in there, and that's easy to get rid of. I just hit backspace and it's gone. Anyways, these are some things that I will probably ask you to do when I'm trying to help you write code. And the last couple of tips about the cutting and the pasting, those are things that you should be using all the time when you're writing code, aside from writing the code with both hands. Can I even, there we go. Yeah, this, you should be typing code with 2 hands. You will be much more efficient with your time, and then you can spend more of your time on learning how to code and less of your time typing the code that you think needs to go in. Okay. I think that is most of what I wanted to cover, and we're already 15 minutes in, so I'd like to give you a little mental break.